Hi, my name's Donna. With this theme of love hurts tonight, I was going through, there's so many choices that I could pick up on. I thought of the 7 Steves. But then they started blending together in the stories, and I couldn't really pick which Steve was which. So I moved past the 7 Steves, and if your name is Steve in the room and you're single, you may have a hard time asking me out. But anyhow, but what I thought about was one time when I got hurt, but it ended up being for love. And what happened is I couldn't remember, 1977, 78, 8th grade, Paxton Hollow Junior High, before they became middle schools. I took the bus home, and then there was a transfer station where, you took the bus to the transfer station, and other kids walked home, which I was a walker, or you would get onto another bus. So all the kids left, vacated the bus, and went their way. So I'm walking home, a couple minutes, maybe like, 3 minutes or so home. And I walk in the door, and I'm the oldest of 5 kids. And we range, the first 3 are about 3 years apart. Then there's a gap, and then there's, I've got a brother and sister that are 6 and 8 years younger than me. So I walk in the door, and I had a very cool, thick, white sweater on. It was late April, and on a chilly day. So I walk in the door. My mom, of course, is watching all my children and having a cool menthol 100 cigarette. And the day we used to have a little note written at Saratelli's in Newtown Square where we could go buy cigarettes for Mom. It was a standing order that we could get them. So, but in any case, so I walked in the door, and this hair with a little bit of water explodes significantly. But so just imagine, before flat irons and all those good things, I never had to perm my hair. It just was naturally big. So I'm walking in with my big, thick, white, cool sweater and my big hair in it. And I walk in the door, and I'm on fire. There's flames, there's smoke coming from my back. And then as soon as my mom mentions that, I hear it, and I get burned. So I take off the sweater, and there's a cigarette in the sweater, in the hoodie. So in tracing back, how did that happen? And I remembered that one of the cool kids that sat in the back of the bus would smoke cigarettes. And I remember once that he went like this and flicked the cigarette up in the bus, and it never hit anybody. But that day, I was the lucky recipient. So it was probably one of his cigarettes that landed in my hood. Both my parents were only children, and they went to Catholic school. And we were all in public schools at the time. And my parents just could not understand how kids could smoke on the bus. So my dad took me, went to the principal of the high school, and had a meeting, and my dad's like, how could you let kids smoke on the bus? And he just couldn't handle it. This poor principal said, sir, I can't handle everything that these kids do. I try my best. I'll talk to the bus driver, but I can't really do anything about it. Not the answer my dad wanted to hear, a very stubborn Irish guy. So he wanted to say, you'll solve it, there'll never be any smoking. So my dad and my mom talked about it, and what they decided to do was to actually yank us all out of public schools, because kids smoke there, and put us all into Catholic schools, because they never smoked there. So what happened is this was April, so we were able to delay the inevitable till September. So we were all yanked out, put in, officially enrolled. Cardinal O'Hara, here I come, and uniforms. Very excited about that. Sorry for you that wore uniforms, but so we were going, and we tried everything, and we were every excuse we could possibly think of with my mom and my dad. And eventually, in July, we hit on the moneymaker to get us back into public school. At the time, they did not serve lunches in the Catholic schools. You had to bring your own bag lunch. And my mom, the thought of 5 kids making lunches threw her over the edge. She did not want to do it. So we kept on it, and we were successful. The 3 older ones, back into public school you go. The 2 younger ones, they weren't good enough to state their position, so they ended up going to St. Annie's. So and that's in Newtown Square. So they went to St. Annie's, went up through into O'Hara, and then my sister one day, who is my youngest sister, 8 years younger, and my other brother that's 2 years older than her, she apparently had parties at her house while my dad and parents were at the shore. And my brother, found out about it and came back, and when he was asked why he wasn't at his party at his house by one of his friends, he went over and he cleared the decks. So everybody left to go home. However, there was this one girl there, one of my sister's friends that lived in Springfield, who he took a fancy to. He ended up dating her. A couple weeks after he started dating her, he went to dip her once, and he fell on her and broke her leg. So, but she still hung in there with him, and they eventually got married. I have 3 beautiful nieces and nephews, and if that flick of the cigarette didn't happen, I would not have those kids in my life. Thank you. Oh.